Hi, hello, and welcome back to another video. Today we have more reveals from Riftbound, and thankfully I am finally caught up with Riftbound. I've been trying to catch back up to the reveals, get everything started again, and finally I'm caught up. So today is Monday, June the 23rd, and we have about 6 new cards, which is a good bit to go over today. I think a lot of my favorite decks got buffed today, which I'm really happy about because I've been enjoying playing those decks already, and I'm kind of known as a Leona main in my friend group, so I'm really excited to get these cards, play with them, and see what they can do. But I don't want to take too much time up here in the intro. Just know that I do reveals every time they come out, every other day. I'll eventually start doing deck profiles closer to the end of the reveal, so we can actually start making like true decks instead of just like doing decks right now. I'll follow the news, keep you up to date with the game, talk about different subjects, and like I said in my last video, I do have a glossy versus matte sleeve video coming out this week at some point. I'm just waiting to get the card sleeves. I'm gonna do like a little bit of a comparison video for all of you, do some gameplay at my back table. I'm sure you can't see that, but let's get into the reveals. As always, like, subscribe, and comment if you like the video. Tell me how you feel about the cards, tell me how you're feeling about the decks coming out and all of that. But let's get started. We're going to go down with order with like how they came out today. So the first card we have here is a Rune Prison. It is a calm spell. It is 2 energy for 1 power. It's a action spell. It says stun a unit. So clearly this is for Leona, right? This is an amazing card. It really is. Leona already has charm. It already has a lot of good spells because it is green. Like, green has some of the best spells in the game. Now, mind you, I don't know how this will fit within the Leona deck. We'll see how a lot of these newer cards will fit within the Leona deck, but I think this is just another charm, but for Leona. I think this is a great card for Leona. I think with the you could technically like really charm a card to a battlefield, then stun it if you can, like if you did have Leona or someone in the field, or like even if you did have Leona, you could still stun it with this. I think this card is cheap enough. I really dislike that it takes 1 power, but I think this is a really strong card for just 2 energy. So I think that's fair. I think this only helps Leona. I think this is a great spell for Leona. I don't see anything wrong with this card. I think even some of the other green decks might be able to use this in the future. I think just being able to stun a unit and just basically kill it in a 1v1 no matter what is a very powerful ability. And even in decks like Yasuo, maybe even Ahri, I could see Ahri maybe running this, because right now her ability is really strong with blue Ahri. She basically just makes it go, if she's defending, -3. If she's attacking, still -2 on might. I think with going negative, like making your unit -2 and then also stunning the unit in Ahri might be a really good play. Like I said, I don't know where it's gonna fit in. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but I think Rune Prison will be very strong. And as a Leona player, I'm probably going to try 3 of these tonight. I've been doing a call to arms build for Leona where of course, I don't know if you know what Leona does, but her passive basically states that whenever she stuns anyone, you can buff a friendly unit. And with Call to Arms being a yellow card, at first I was only running it in set, and then I remember that Leona is also a yellow card. Excuse me. And so I realized just how good that could be in Leona, because you don't use your buffs in any other way. Like, the buffs are nice for the +1, but being able to buff up a unit in a bad situation by 3, and it costs 0 energy, Call to Arms does, if you spend the buff. So I think it's a wonderful card, and I want to see this card in action with Call to Arms. So we'll see later tonight. I will be building at Leona, playing against some of my friends, and we'll see how it goes. Now, next up is Last Stand. We have another calm spell card. Now, this is another action spell card. It is 3 energy for 1 might. And it says double a friendly unit's might this turn, give it temporary. And temporary just means you kill it in your next beginning phase. This, I think, is one of the things that Calm has been missing, because Calm has the best spells in the game. I don't think anyone would really argue that, besides Yellow. Like, Yellow's a close second with like Hidden Blade and everything, but I truly think that Green is just really good. I mean, it's a counter spells, all like, moving around, like just a lot of good control spells with out of Green. And this finally gives some of the green decks a little bit more of a presence, because even if you have to kill the unit next turn, if you have like, let's say, I don't know, Weaver of Water or something on a battlefield, and you know it's gonna die, like, or it could die that turn, you could double it, still hold the point, or I should say, at least keep a hold of the point, and even if it dies, so you don't get the hold point, at least your opponent doesn't get it. Now, I will say, this is a little bit harder to fit into some of the current green decks. I know green decks want this. I know they need the power a lot of times, but as of right now, I do not see like a lot of the green decks just rushing to put this in. Like, I think Rune Prison for like Leona is like, I think people are gonna be rushing to put that into a Leona deck because it's just so good. But we'll have to see how Last Stand is used. I do like the art on this card because it's Poppy swinging her massive hammer. I love how it's coming off the card itself. But as of right now, I don't see a reliable place for it. We'll see if Yasuo uses it. Like I said, maybe Ari could also use this, but green has so many good spells that it's getting hard to the point of like deciding what spells you want to use in green, because they all have good spells. So let's go on to the next one. This is another calm card. So this is what our third calm card in a row. This is a 4 energy for 1 power, 4 might, and this is Tarek. He has shield, so he's +1 while defending. He has tank, which means he must be assigned battle damage first, and it says other friendly units here have shield. So as long as he's on a point, all of your friendly units on the same battlefield as him have shield. Now, so for reference, Sona is a 4 energy, 1 power card for the same amount of might, 4 might. In her ability is probably one of the strongest of the games, being able to untap runes for green, which green loves to have runes open on, on their opponent's turn. However, I'm really having issues seeing this card being used in the standard decks that we're building right now. Now, I don't want to be that guy to be like, oh, it's just a bad card, we know who's gonna play this, because who knows, right? I think the meta is one of those beautiful things that changes as more cards come out, and mind you, the reveals are not stopping until like July 18th, I believe, which is a long ways off, and who knows the other cards we're gonna get and how good they're gonna be just yet. But I still think shield is a good ability. +1 might is not anything to scoff at, but at the same time, you would have to have Tarek on a battlefield, and then also have at least 1 or 2 other cards on the battlefield to actually make this worth it, you know? I just feel like 4 energy, 1 power for only 4 might, and then he's 5 defending, and then he gives +1 while defending with his teammates. But a lot of the green decks don't spam the field that much, and if they do, it's just because like it just worked out for them that way. I like, if this was a card that was in like if this was a similar card in like red, or I mean in Fury, maybe even Chaos, or just like any like a yellow, I could see this card being way better, kind of like Commander Corrin, or whatever that red card that just came out with, when he gives everyone +1 might, gives everyone assault, I believe. It's similar to that, right, for red or yellow at least, but I don't, in green, I just don't see this really making it into a list right now. We'll see how tanky Leona can get in the future with more further reveals. Maybe this finds a place again with Leona, because right now Sona and Leona is very good combo, and they're very cheap. I mean, 4 energy, even if it's 1 power, 4 energy is really cheap. If you think about it, you can play all, Sona, Tarek, Leona on your second turn, at least your second turn. I think that is a good amount of energy, but we'll see if Tarek ends up anywhere. But right now, I don't really care that much for this card. I don't think any deck right now is hugely on defense. Like, yeah, Leona is, is a defender, and she's good at defending. But I don't think you're gonna be like, oh, let me put this with Leona, so Leona can get, another +1. I just don't see that happening. I think there's too many conditions for this card to be good, because you have to not only have multiple green, or I shouldn't say green, in a green deck, you must have multiple cards on the same battlefield, and then also have this card out, which is just a lot of work and a lot of resources. But we'll see what happens with this card. Now, next up is Fiora. Now, mind you, this card's resolution is very bad. I will try to find a image that's not so bad to see if there is one. But on my screen, it's very blurry, so I know on the video it's gonna be blurry. But this is Fiora finally, and I love this card. Like, I already love Fiora. I love her aesthetic. I love the fencing. I loved her in League. I actually used to play her a lot, even though I did play top lane. I loved Fiora. And so I was very excited to see this. I'm so glad she's an order. It only makes sense with Demacia, and and order so far has been very Demacian focused, while Fury has been very Noxus focused. And so I'm really glad to see that Fiora finally is in the game. And I'm sorry, but I think this card is a little too good already. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to be too cocky about this, but I think this card is really OP. She costs no power, so let me just go over it real quick. She's a 4 energy, no power cost for 4 might, but her ability is that while I'm mighty, and mighty means it has to be 5+ might, she has deflect, ganking, and shield. And mind you, this is a Leona card. I'm sorry, this is a Leona card. You can stun, put a buff on Fiora, and instantly Fiora has deflect, ganking, and shield. If you don't know, deflect means that they have to pay 1 power to target Fiora with a spell or ability. Ganking means she can move across battlefields, and shield means she gains +1 might while defending. So not only is she a +5 might with deflect and ganking, but then if she's defending, she's a 6 might card for 4 energy and no power. This is insane. I'm instantly gonna put 3 of this in a Leona deck. I'm just gonna put it. Maybe she's viable in set as well, because I think she's just good. So I think set wouldn't have a problem in with having Fiora on the field, because if you think about it with set, she can go to a battlefield. She has deflect already, which already makes her hard to kill. And even if something gets around her, like let's say a big body card or like a snap vine tries to do it, anything like that, you can use set, take the buff off, and get her back to base. So I think both Fiora can go in both set and Leona very well, but as a Leona player, I think this is probably the best card in Leona now, besides Leona herself and her cards, of course, her stun cards. Whenever I saw this card, I had to wake up early. I had to go do some errands with my mother. And I saw this while out and about, and I was losing my mind in the car. And my mom plays Riftbound with me, so I was like talking to her about the card, and we were discussing it on the way back home while I was driving us. And I just think this card's great. I love the artwork from Legends of Runeterra. Overall, I mean, there's nothing to hate about this card. There is a no power card for 4 might, at least 4 might, 5 might if you have the buff on her, and then she gains deflect, ganking, and shield. I think honestly this card should have been a 4 energy, 1 power at least. I think this card is going to be in a set. I think this card is going to be Leona. I think both of them will run 3, because not only can you play on your second turn for free basically, because I should say basically, but you will be able to play for free because there's no power cost on it. And I think it's just a good card. And immediately when this card gets onto Pillar of Archive and TTS, I'm going to be running it. I'm going to be testing it. I know my friends are going to hate me for it, because I think this card is really hard to get down, unless, like I said, you have a body card, or you can just overpower it. And even if it's in set, you can't really overpower it, because you can set can save her. So we'll see how good this card is in the format. And now we have 2 more cards left. We have a spell and then a champion unit. So the first one is the spell. This is a body spell for 4 energy and 1 power. It's a action spell speed, and it says give a unit +7 might this turn. So first off, this is Gnar. I love Gnar. He's cute. Just a little guy. I love him. Primal Strength is a great card. The only issue I have with this card is a 4 energy for 1 power, and body currently already has a lot of power issues, because almost every good card that power wants to run costs 1 or 2 body or 1 or 2 power to play. And I think a lot of the power guys are going to love this card. I mean, a lot of the body guys are going to love this card. I mean, +7 might is huge, but it's just so hard. It's just another card that you need a seal for. Like like at this point, body, like if you ever see a body deck, it must instantly run seals, because you just use up you just recycle your whole rune zone every turn at this point. And even if their cards are really strong, it's just hard to recycle all that energy and just to let go of your resources like that. But +7 might though for 4 energy and 1 power is very good. I mean, this could be a game changer and a legit game winner for a lot of decks. I mean, Set can use this, Lee Sin can use this, and like Volibear will use this. I think any orange deck could potentially use this and have benefit from it. Now, I think Set is probably the least likely to run this, like based on just overall. I think Set already benefits a lot. I think, yeah, the +7 would help them, but I want to see how, like, I think I would take out Call, because right now I'm running Call to Arms instead. I think I would take out Call to Arms and run 3 of this for right now just to see and test. But I think Lee Sin especially, since he's already so strong. I mean, it's +7 might on a Lee Sin that has like even like 4 buffs. It would be insane. You know, almost impossible to kill in a turn. Volibear clearly loves this. Volibear is probably one of the worst, probably the worst body ledge, I would say, just because we don't really have a lot, like we have a lot of ramp for him, but he just doesn't really have that much of identity right now, besides for being the ramp big guy legend, which is fine. It's Volibear, he's supposed to be that way, but I think we're gonna see as the reveals come out, I think he'll get better and better later into the format. But right now I could see him and Lee Sin really winning this card. I see Set potentially using this, but like I said, I still use Call to Arms, but at least this doesn't take off a buff, so this is technically a better buff overall. But it's only to you know, of course it's only to one you know, one unit. I don't really know what you'd be doing with that one unit. I mean, maybe you swing onto a showdown with, like, you know, you're protected by sets. Your unit has a buff, so it's protected by set. You play Primal Strength, you wipe the board with them, and you still have a backup plan just in case if they counter the spell in any way. I could see that, so we'll see. I'm gonna try out in set as well. I'll say how it is, but I really am hopeful that this works out better in Volibear like later into the format. We'll see though. That's just my prediction. Then finally, to our last card of today, our last reveal is Kog'Maw. The cutie is here. You know, it takes a mother to really love this card, but he's a cutie to me. Another champion unit, but he's an odd one. Okay, so he's a chaos card. He's 3 energy, 1 power for 1 might, but he has a death knell ability, and that death knell ability is his passive from League of Legends, which is deal 4 to all units at my battlefield. When I die, get this effect. I just really love this because clearly they're playing off of League of Legends version of Kog'Maw with his passive, but the weird thing is it says deal 4 damage to all units on my battlefield, including your own, so you wouldn't be playing this to go up and like clash against someone. You'd be playing this as only a suicide bomber, but 1 might, it's really hard to, like, purple right now, like Jinx doesn't really care. I'm gonna be honest, I think Jinx deck is really good right now, very consistent. I don't see how you would fit this in. Like Traveling Merchant's already good. I think a lot of Jinx deck is already kind of figured out. The only card in Jinx that's not figured out is like the last 2 cards, because like Immortal Phoenix seems pretty good for her, but it's not the most consistent thing, because you must have Super Mega Death Rocket to use it or to get back from the grave. And then some people switch between Darius and Draven. I am personally in the debate. I like Draven more than Darius, just because I feel like he can hold points late game for Jinx, which Jinx doesn't have a lot of means to do so. But I don't see this being really used in Jinx. And here, let me, I'm just forgetting, so let me look it up. Let me see all the purple legends, because I've totally forgot, besides for Jinx. So the only other purple legend is Yasuo and Teemo. Or actually, there's 3 of them. I don't know where I've been. I don't know how I blanked out on that. So I don't see Yasuo using this. Maybe Teemo, just to be sneaky with his hidden traps. I mean, maybe he uses it. Misfortune for sure not. I don't think Misfortune uses this card whatsoever. I think Misfortune is one of the best decks of the format, or at least the most consistent. Same thing with Jinx. They're just too consistent to really put this card in anywhere. And this is the issue with this card. It's a 1 might, so if your opponent just targets it in base with any, you know, damage unit card, it instantly dies. It does get the effect, it goes to the grave, and you've wasted 1 power and 3 energy on a card that is very inconsistent, I would say. Like I said, unless you're playing like a dive comp or like a death bomb comp somehow, like later in the format, I don't see this card being used. I think this card's really fun. I think this card to be really fun in a free-for-all. I think I think this card might be really fun in a free-for-all, just for like the laughs, like how stupid it could be. But I think in an actual competitive, like standard format, I don't see this card really going into any slot. Like I said, maybe Teemo, but Teemo's deck is not even fully out yet, because he needs a lot more hidden cards to actually like be worthwhile right now. And maybe he'll get it later on. Like I said, it's not stopping until July the 18th, but I don't even see Yasuo doing it, because Yasuo is a green deck mostly, and then he has a couple purple cards that helps him out. I don't see him running this. I just think it's too much of an upfront cost for little to no effect, especially if you're playing against a like really anything deck. Like if you're playing against a Yasuo, Jinx, Darius, any deck that can kill a card or like damage a card. Kai'Sa, I mean, this deck, I mean, this card would be absolutely useless against Kai'Sa because she would just target and, you know, in base every time. But yeah, I just don't see any way that this is a super good card. But overall, these are the real reveals today. Like I said, I think Fiora is really good. I can't wait to play as her. I think Rune Prison's great for Leona. The Last Stand might be okay. Taric is not my favorite. Primal Strength seems to be good. And then Kog'Maw, like I just got finished saying, I just don't know where it's gonna go to right now, and I just don't really value it as a card. Like these other cards, like for instance, like Fiora makes me want to play Fiora, makes me want to go put her in my Leona deck like right now. But Kog'Maw doesn't, you know, Kog'Maw and like even Taric just doesn't make me want to do that. But those are my opinions, of course. I want to hear what about you. Do you think these cards are good? Do you see like a certain deck strategy that can be good with Kog'Maw? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, as always, like, subscribe, and comment. Yeah, I will respond to any comment. I upload every other day, or I try to at least. Lately I've been uploading every day just because, you know, I've been trying to catch back up with Riftbound news. But I do technically upload every other day. So please enjoy your time. I hope you like the video, and I'll see you next time.